Hi everyone, welcome. I hope you're all doing well. I'd like to welcome you to another lesson in our ongoing French course. In this lesson, we are going to look at a very interesting and very unusual verb in the French language. I'll show you why in just a minute. So this verb is the verb essayer, which means to try, as in to attempt to do something, to try to do something. Essayer. So first of all, just a little bit about the history of this word. The French word essayer, the verb to try, to attempt, is from Latin exagere, to weigh or examine carefully. So how did we get from to weigh or examine carefully to the idea of try? Well, think about it. When you try to do something, when you attempt to do something, before you act, you usually think about it, how you're going to approach it, how you're going to do it. So at some point, the jump was made from to weigh or examine carefully to the meaning of to try or to attempt. Okay, so the French word essayer, which is the noun, it means a try or an attempt. It's also derived from the verb essayer. The English word essay and the Spanish word ensayo are also related words from exagere. Okay, so let's go ahead and do first things first, the forms, the conjugation. It's a regular ER verb in the sense that we use these regular ER verb endings, so be sure that you know those, which I think you do. I think you know them like the back of your hand already. We've been doing this for quite a while. So remember, if you want to conjugate this verb to put it into its forms, remove the ER from the infinitive and you're left with the root or the stem. And all you have to do at this point is add the endings, which you've memorized, to this root or stem. So for the word I, the je, we have essayer, you just add the E ending. So we have j'essaie, which means I try or I attempt. Tu, we have our root and we add the ES ending, essaie. Il, elle, on, we have our root and we add the ending, which is the same as the je ending. So essaie. Nous, we have our root and we add the ons ending to this. So we have essayons, essayons. Vous, start off with your root, add the ez ending for vous, essayez, and then il, elle, start off with your root and then add the ent ending, essaie. So there you have it. These are the forms of the verb essayer. So we have I try or I attempt, j'essaye. You try, you attempt, tu essayes. He tries, il essaie, elle, she tries, elle essaie. One tries, on essaye. We try, nous essayons. You try, vous essayez. And they try, il or elle essaye. So here's the very interesting and unusual thing about this verb that I mentioned earlier in the video, earlier in the lesson. And this has to do with spelling. It is perfectly acceptable to spell this verb in some of the forms with an I instead of the Y. So you can see it spelled as you see here on the board, or like this, with an I in all of the forms except for the nous and the vous. The nous and the vous forms always have to be spelled with the Y, but the other forms can have either a Y or an I. Why? It's just those are the rules of spelling for this verb in French. Either way is perfectly acceptable. The generally more preferred way is to spell with an I, but again, if you spell it with a Y, that's perfectly acceptable. Nothing wrong with that. So either way. And now on to the exciting and fun part. If you know how to conjugate this verb, you can express a lot of different ideas. Honestly, learning how to conjugate one verb is so much better than memorizing 50 or 100 things. You can do so much more with just that one verb. Okay, so now here's the super exciting part of this lesson, to actually be able to use this thing. What can you do with this? Well, now that you know how to conjugate this verb, you can say interesting and exciting things like, I try, or I'm trying. How would you say that? Well, it's just the present tense, right? J'essaie. J'essaie. I try. I'm trying. J'essaie. Remember, you can also spell this with the I. J'essaie. J'essaie. I try. I'm trying. Or you can say, she's trying, like give her a break. She's trying. She's trying. How do you say that? Elle essaie. Elle essaie. She's trying. Elle essaie. How about a command? You want to tell somebody, try, just try, right? Try. Well, remember that you can use the vous form for a command. So we have essayer. Essayer. Try, try, try. Essayer. Or if you want to say something like, I would like to try. Je voudrais essayer. I would like to try. Je voudrais essayer. Je voudrais essayer. I would like to try. Okay, now we've arrived at something even more exciting than just the verb by itself. I'm going to show you how to multiply your abilities with this verb. This is really exciting. The more vocabulary you know, the more you can do with this thing. So it's this expression to try plus an infinitive. So in French, you have to add the de before the infinitive. So essayer de plus an infinitive means what? It means to try to do something, to try to do something. So keep in mind, the more infinitives you know, the more things you can say. If you know all of the different forms of essayer in the present tense, and you know a whole bunch of infinitives, it's almost limitless what you can do with this thing. Okay, so essayer. How about this? If I want to say, I'm trying to finish my homework in French. I'm trying to finish my homework. Very simple. Conjugate essayer, j'essaie. Remember the de has to be there. It's part of the structure. And then finir mes devoirs. J'essaie de finir mes devoirs. So I'm trying to finish my homework. Maybe you're having difficulty towards the end or you're having trouble concentrating. But anyway, the idea is I'm trying to finish my homework, or I try to finish my homework. I'm trying to finish my homework. J'essaie de finir mes devoirs. How about this? I would like to try to solve this problem. Not just I try or I'm trying, but I would like to try. Je voudrais essayer de résoudre ce problème. Je voudrais essayer de résoudre ce problème. And there you have a really nice French sentence there. One more example. Let's make this a little quiz. Can you say in French, he's trying to sleep? Remember, it's essayer plus de, and then the infinitive to sleep. So he tries or he is trying. You know how to do that. That's just essayer with the subject il. So we have il essaie. He's trying. How about the to sleep? Il essaie. Remember, you have to have the de. It's part of the structure of that little formula. And then finally, the infinitive to sleep, dormir. So you have il essaie de dormir. He's trying to sleep. And there you have it. The verb essayer in the present tense. Other verbs that allow either an I or a Y in the spelling, like essayer, are payer, which we've had already, and balayer, to sweep. Well, that's it for this lesson. Thanks so much for watching. If you found it helpful, I would appreciate it very much if you'd give it a like, maybe a hype. If you know someone else that is learning French and you think they might benefit from these lessons, please consider sharing. And subscribers, thank you so much for your support. To go on to another lesson, click on a video that appears here on your screen. Thanks for watching. See you soon. À bientôt.